Good day, everybody. Jaquel Wimbush here, your host of Back to the Basics of Health and Wellness Podcast. On today's show, I'll be talking to Dr. Gazsi. He's a naturopathic doctor and an expert in supplements and vitamins. Let's get into it. Always remember to take your vitamins. Vitamin A for action, vitamin B for belief, vitamin C for confidence, vitamin D for discipline, and vitamin E for enthusiasm. Pablo.
Daddy, it's time to start your podcast.
Today's episode of Back to the Basics of Health and Wellness Podcast is brought to you in part by Tourmaline Wellness. We offer only the highest quality nutritional supplements available. Get free shipping on all orders over $100 and receive a free wellness consultation from Ladybug Natural Solutions on all orders over $200. Go ahead, shop now at www.tourmalinewellness.com. Hey, Dr. Gazsi, how you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Good
Great
to
to be
hear.
on the show.
Good to hear. Good to hear. You're very welcome. It's an honor to have and pleasure to have you on the show today, as you are a naturopathic doctor and you are a expert in the vitamin and supplement industry, and you are helping me right now or in the past and right now formulate some products for my wellness line. So I appreciate all your help and your services. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. I really love and enjoy doing this kind of work because it makes such a big difference in people's lives.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what I want to talk about today, making a difference in people's lives through vitamin and supplementation. And I want to talk to you about, where to get good vitamins and supplements from, how to pick and choose them and where to stay away from.
Absolutely.
All right. So
go ahead.
No, you got it.
So I was going to say, I always start conversations on quality and where to get things from is telling people, what not to do.
Yes.
For instance, one of my big pet peeves is I tell people, please don't go onto Amazon or eBay and please don't buy the cheapest thing you could find online because you're not getting what you think you're getting. You're not
Absolutely.
getting what's on the label. There's so much fraud out there.
Mm-hmm.
I hear about all the time. I see it all the time. Even reputable companies, if you're buying their products on Amazon, many times those are fraudulent products. They're actually aren't coming from those companies. They're actually many times they're sawdust or they're garbage. Who knows what they put in there, but it's not from that company.
Yes. And for me, coming from working in a independent health food store, we were there to educate our customers on those exact things. Because a lot of people will say, your vitamins are expensive, especially with my company right now, Tourmaline Wellness. People will say, even family members, your vitamins are expensive. And I say, it's all about quality. And if we could get into that real quick, that'll be great.
Absolutely. Well, there's several different things we want to talk about with cost. One is, are you getting a clean product, or are there heavy metals in there? Are there toxins there? Is there bacteria in there, et cetera? Number one. Number two, are you getting a product that has in it what is on the label? If you think you're buying zinc and it really isn't zinc in there, you're not really spending your money well because
Absolutely.
you're getting ripped off. So there's those factors, and you would think, it says on the label it is, but that doesn't mean much because a lot of these knockoff companies are basically fraudulent companies are basically putting stuff in there that isn't even a nutritional supplement. And sometimes they're lacing them with pharmaceuticals, which is really scary as well.
Yes.
So there's definitely scary stuff going on there. You have to be extremely careful. And even simple things like a lot of companies use binders and fillers, and those things will decrease the absorption of the nutrients, even if the nutrients are in there. So you have to be very careful with ingredients and sourcing because it can play a big difference. The other is concentration because, I actually told this story, I think it was you recently, about a patient of mine who had some allergies. I gave her olive leaf, and it helped, miraculously helped her amazingly for her symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
And then she ran out of what I gave her, and she went online and she found Puritan's Pride, and she bought, they were selling it for, buy two, get three free, and she thought it was a great deal. And then it stopped working, and she couldn't figure out why. So we did a little math, and She was paying $6 a bottle for this stuff, and mine was $30 a bottle. And she was like, "Well, I can't see why yours is so expensive." So I said, "Let's just do the math on it." And what happened is that bottle of olive leaf was a 60 count. Ours was a 90 count. There was 250 milligrams per capsule for theirs. It was 500 milligrams a capsule for ours. And theirs was a 8% concentration. Ours was an 18% concentration.
Mm-hmm.
And when we did the math to show her the difference, she was actually paying more for the Puritan's Pride that she was paying for ours.
Yes. I can definitely see that happening. Definitely.
Yeah.
See. Yeah. And that's why I explained as well that quality over quantity. When we come to these things, because all of these stores, we actually, me and you talked about it, like fish oil, for example, Kirkland's brand Costco fish oil, you getting like 200 capsules for what, $17?
Yeah, but there's very, very little in it.
Absolutely. So you're going to be spending more over time and taking a lot of stuff that you don't even realize what you're taking.
And a lot of times it's rancid.
Yes. And that's why people get the fish burp.
Yep.
Yeah,
well, if you have a really clean fish oil, when you get a burp, the burp means you're not digesting it well.
Yes.
But if you get a fish burp, you shouldn't taste it.
Yes.
My son loves to chew up our fish oil capsules because he's like, oh, they actually taste good. He chews them up. So they taste clean. They don't have that yucky, smelly taste to them.
Absolutely. Dr. Gazsi, what type of doctor? You was a naturopathic doctor, correct?
I'm a naturopathic doctor. That's correct. 27 years in practice.
Nice. Congratulations, sir. Yeah. What did you practice?
I was practicing in Connecticut, Danbury, Connecticut.
Okay.
Yep.
And what I guess what were your niche practice?
I really liked being a general practitioner in a lot of ways, because you never know what's going to walk in the door. I had many different people tell me, ask me, what's my niche, what's my focus, and if I had to pick something, I would say, digestive issues and chronic fatigue.
Okay.
But that still, even those together, probably was maybe 30% of my practice, because you never know what's going to walk in the door. People came in with panic attacks, anxiety attacks, menstrual issues, hot flashes. Obviously fatigue with underlying for a lot of things, diabetes, high cholesterol, hair loss, acne, eczema, it's like, hives. I mean, you never know, and I could have a rash of people with one thing for 3 months and then never see that again for 5 years,
Absolutely.
So, but the wonderful thing is you get to help every single person in the family, and, natural medicine really should be the first line of defense. It really should. We see this. People say, I need drugs for this because I'm really sick. And I'm like, sometimes what you need is natural medicine, because that's what really works when you're really, when you're really worn down.
Yes, it does. Yes. Yeah. And people, if you can explain the, I guess, vitamin and supplement, or more or less supplements and herbs when it comes to treating issues versus medication, because, when people use medication, sometimes they say, I felt good quicker than I would on a herb or a supplement, or a combination of both. Can you explain the reason why they feel?
Absolutely. Well, many times the medications are either suppressing their symptoms or they're getting rid of the problem, but they're not fixing the cause of the problem. So I'll give you an example. I used to see a lot of kids with ear infections, and they would put them on antibiotics, and then within 2 days, the ear infection would be gone. The parents were happy. Well, then 3 months later, it happened again. And then 3 months later, it happened again. And 3 months later, it happened again. And finally, the parents come to see me, and they say, we don't want to keep putting him on antibiotics because he's going to get antibiotic resistant, and these things cause problems, and they're causing digestive issues for him. So now we're like, okay, well, let's find the cause of this problem. And, some of it was his immunity was kind of weak, partly because when you take antibiotics, the antibiotics do the fighting for you. They kill off the bug, but your body doesn't exercise its immune system, and it doesn't get stronger. And then if you don't address the reason the immune system is weak, so, we looked at his diet, of course, because food can play a role with things like this. And then we looked at nutrients, and we found some deficiencies. We found some nutrients that helped to build his immunity. And we put him on a very, very simple protocol, a couple dietary changes, and some nutritional supplements. And, 2 years later, he hadn't had a single ear infection. So I think the parents are pretty happy. On top of that, there were some side benefits. With medications, many times you have side effects. These are side effects are effects that you don't want. Things like diarrhea or stomach pain or things like that from antibiotics, let's say. So, we had a nice thing about natural medicine is there were side benefits. So, he experienced not only less ear infections, but he got less sick in overall. He didn't get other symptoms as well. He also had a decrease in his allergies, which was nice, a nice side benefit there, and an increase in his energy level. So, and better focus too. So there were, again, side benefits to using natural medicine.
Yes, absolutely. And when it comes to like you said, allergies, um, can allergies be a deficient of certain vitamins and minerals that you don't have in your body?
Well, I think allergies are a little bit more of a broad spectrum issue and a little more complicated than just, here's a antihistamine. And there are natural antihistamines, but we're still treating the symptom, not treating the cause.
Okay.
So while you can treat symptoms using natural medicine or regular medicines, there are less side effects to natural medicines, and so sometimes people do it for that reason. But then you have to look at like the cause.
Yes.
So why does a person have allergies? Is it due to a food intolerance? Is it due to a digestive issue that needs to be addressed? Is it due to a mineral deficiency? So there are many, many different causes for things like allergy. So it's really hard to say, here's the cause, let's treat it, everybody takes the same thing, they're all fixed. And that's where natural medicine has to be individualized. And this is why we do recommend people consult with a practitioner. Nothing wrong with trying something simple, but many times those simple things are simply treating symptoms, which again is not a bad thing, but it doesn't usually give you lasting results. It's great to have a practitioner to talk to and say, hey, let's look at the big picture, let's look at the details, think of things you haven't thought of, and then you end up with, finding some solutions that are long lasting.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And for the listeners out there, if you can explain root cause, because you said that a couple of times, and
Sure.
I've explained it a couple of times, but for people to hear it from a doctor, that'd be great information.
Sure. I mean, again, I use the word root. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to use the word root. You could just say cause.
The cause.
But I mean, in a way. So let's take something that isn't car accidents, right? Okay. So there's lots of them, right? A long list of them, right? So it's with natural medicine. You look at or any illness or ailment. Looking at sometimes the cause is hard to find, and you got to dig for it. And I use the word root cause sometimes because we want to get at. Sometimes there's more than one, and sometimes there's, let's say, 3 or 4 different causes that add up to causing the symptoms. So it's kind of like the straw that breaks the camel's back. You have let's say somebody's tired. Maybe they're deficient in minerals, and maybe they're deficient, and maybe they don't get enough sleep.
Yeah, lifestyle.
And exactly. So, and maybe on top of all that, they have a lot of stress, and so now you have 3 different causes. But maybe one of those is the root cause. Maybe the other 2 are smaller causes. So if you look at it, you go, oh, that person's getting 4 hours of sleep at night, and they're deficient in minerals, and they have some stress. Well, I would say that root cause might be just lack of sleep, and sometimes you get into conversation with them, and they find out that they have trouble falling asleep and staying asleep. So now we can use natural things to help them fall asleep and stay asleep, and if their energy improves, you've kind of helped to solve the problem by going after the main problem.
Yes.
Not just treating all of them.
Okay, nice. Thank you. Like that
Sure.
explanation. Dealing with right now, what we're dealing with, the pandemic. What are some things that people are missing? Because you see a lot, the numbers are going up. What are, and you hear a lot about zinc. You hear about a lot about the immune boosting vitamins and supplements. And a lot of people are, they're getting the COVID, and, they're bouncing back. Some, in the beginning, a lot of people died. But what are things that people are really missing in their lifestyle right now when it comes to COVID and trying to stay away from it and not get it?
Well, I mean, obviously, avoiding exposure, and we know this is all a key. It's, avoiding being exposed to it. But on the other side, too, if you've noticed, there's been a lot more infections, but not necessarily more deaths. In fact, it seems like the death rate seems to be declining.
Yes, it is.
And again, some of that may be that people are taking more nutrients. Some of that may be that the the very, very weak people who are more susceptible to dying already has gotten it and died, or are now more protected. Maybe they're more careful with exposing those people. So there's lots of questions in there. But if you notice, there are some changes there. I know that has nothing to do with nutrition, but it's kind of heartening to see that change happening.
Mm-hmm.
In Danbury, we see to get reports that was saying how many people had it, but we used to hear how many people died, and we're not hardly hearing that at all anymore.
Yes.
So that's really encouraging.
Mm.
But yeah, and as far as the research, I mean, there definitely has been some evidence that zinc seems to be helpful. You certainly see in the news and different people who've had COVID and what they're coming out and saying what they took and what helped. Vitamin C, zinc. Personally, I think vitamin A is very helpful, but you have to be careful because vitamin A can be toxic if you take too much.
Okay.
So again, that's one of those things that should be taken only after speaking to a health coach or a practitioner.
Yes.
Because you can take A, but you want to be careful how much. You can't take it if you're pregnant. And you have to be, the dosage, the effective dosage really, is best prescribed under practitioner. But the safe things for most people, things like vitamin C, things like zinc for sure. I personally like N-acetylcysteine a lot. It has a long history of being really helpful for preventing flu, which is also a virus.
Okay.
It also is protective to the lungs. And we know about COVID, it attacks the lungs, one of the things it does. So I'm a big fan of N-acetylcysteine. Because I find that it's very safe, and I think even though there's not a lot of research being done right now for that for COVID, it kind of fits the bill of prevention for other things. So many times people get one illness and then they get others because they're weakened from it. So if you strengthen the overall immunity, I think you're doing well there. And then there's also lifestyle things that are really important. Things like getting enough sleep, don't drink alcohol. Because these weaken the immune system.
Yes.
And then if you start feeling under the weather, take a day off. Take a hot bath. Sleep extra. Don't push yourself to make it through the next day when what you're doing is you're weakening your body. And better take a day off than need to take a week off, right?
Yes. Absolutely. You got to take some time off to yourself.
Yep.
And get
minerals are important too, though. By the way, I mean, I zinc is in the news. I personally like giving people a broad spectrum of minerals, not just zinc by itself. I like giving them zinc with everything else.
Mm-hmm.
I find that chromium is really good for stress management. Magnesium is really good for stamina and energy and endurance and liver function. So I like giving them, multi minerals, so they're getting, the broad spectrum. Like you would get it in food.
Yes.
Broad spectrum nutrients, not one isolated.
Yes. And food is very important, because a lot of people that they eat I'm not going to say terrible diet, but a lot of people eat a bad diet and they think just because they're going to, take supplements and vitamins that it's going to improve their condition. But I personally ask that, people do cleanse. They cleanse the body first before they introduce these supplements and vitamins into their everyday or, their prescribed dosage. Is that?
I agree.
So you do agree with that? Okay, cool.
Oh, absolutely. When I first started my practice, almost 28 years ago, I used to say to people, people would ask me, do you give a lot of supplements out? I said, I only give supplements to people that don't want to change their diet.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you really eat well, you can get most things from your food.
Yes.
And so I used to really, really preach that and push that. And I still do. But what I found was a lot of people wouldn't come back because they didn't want to change their diets. Or if they did, they only want to make little changes. And so they thought that's all I had to offer. And so I finally kind of mixed it and said, look, if you change your diet and take supplements, you have a balanced approach here. The reality is we're all going to travel. We're going to be on the road. We're going to be, rushing. We're not necessarily going to sit down and eat a sensible meal.
Yes.
Not necessarily relax when we eat, or are we really going to digest it if we're not relaxing? So it's good to do a little bit of both because life does get in the way. Very few patients come in and say, oh, I have no stress.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen much, Most people have stress. Stress affects your digestion. It affects how well you absorb nutrients. It affects your body's ability to manage, manage the immune system, et cetera.
Absolutely. Great information. Yeah, because like I was saying, I just see so many people, and I stress, you have to cleanse the body at some point. A lot of people, and making poop matter because a lot of people, when I talk to them, they say, or not even in just general, you have that poop conversation, and people get,
Mm-hmm.
it starts to get a little awkward, and it's
Yeah.
like they don't want to talk about it. And I my thing is, you should be at least pooping twice a day, if not 3 times a day, especially in the morning, at midday,
Yep.
at night, or right before you go to sleep or something like that. Yeah.
I think it depends on where you're starting from too. I mean, I have had
Yes.
patients who come in and say, "I go once a week." I say, "Okay, our goal is to get you to go every day."
Yes. Yes.
Once
Oh
a
wow.
day.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. 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 Once a week.
But yeah, once a week. You're not going to get twice a day very quickly. You're going to
Yes.
try. We try to get them to every other day first, and then to every day. Like anything else, you got to do it gradually.
Yes, you do.
But you're right. You do, and we talk about detox. People ask all the time, "Should we do a detox?" Like, well, here's the thing. First of all, let's make sure that you're detoxing on a daily basis, because you don't want to do a spring or fall detox when you haven't detoxed in years.
Yes.
And you want to make sure that your body's eliminating on a daily basis, because that's your body's daily detox.
Absolutely.
And then when that's working well, then you say, okay, now let's do like a real cleanse where we kind of ramp it up and get the turbocharger going and really clean things out. But you want to make sure the daily detox is working first.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Great information. Great information. Thank you. Thank you very much for all of that
Sure.
good information. 3 tips before we go. You have 3 tips for the listeners before we go. I ask all my interviews. I always ask everybody for 3 tips before they go on health and wellness. What would be your 3 tips for people right now?
Health and wellness. Three tips, huh?
Yeah.
Well, number 1 would be sleep. And I personally take a bunch of stuff to help me sleep. Melatonin's one of them, but that's not the only thing I take, because I've had lifelong issues with sleep. So I find, enhancing your sleep is really critical. Getting in at least 7 hours, if not 8 hours of sleep, really, really critical, number 1. Number 2, I think minerals are the most common deficiency there are in this country. Iron, the most common worldwide. I think minerals, not counting calcium. Calcium tends to be overdone, but magnesium, zinc, chromium, selenium, very common deficiencies in this country, and they play a huge role. Magnesium has over 400 functions. So
Wow.
I would say, if anything else, I tell people minerals, because that's really, really important.
Yes.
So those are 2. And then, limit your calories. Unless you're underweight. If eating less helps your immune system, because digestion takes a burden of stress in the body, and it depletes the body. So if you're eating too much food, it definitely wears you down, makes you tired, weakens your immune system. And again, I'm not saying, starve yourself if you're too thin already, et cetera. But if you're overweight, eat a little bit less each meal. And if you have trouble with that, then take a digestive enzyme, because you're going to have trouble digesting if you're eating too much. So take an enzyme that helps today, a broad spectrum, full spectrum enzyme that helps with digestion if you can't limit your food.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you very much. One last question, or one last talk. That sleep cream, man, that is amazing. The sleep cream that you guys formulated.
The sleep cream, yeah.
Yes, that is some good stuff. I took it
awesome.
the other night, and I put it on, like I said, an hour before, and it knocked me out.
It's interesting. The feedback I've seen with that cream that you have has been interesting, because most things that help people sleep help them fall asleep.
Yes.
But they don't necessarily help them stay asleep. What I've noticed with that cream you have there is that it helps people fall asleep and stay asleep, because it kind of transfers into the body over a period of time.
Yes.
And that seems to have a longer kind of residual effect, but it doesn't seem to make people groggy in the morning. So it's been a really exciting product.
Beautiful, beautiful. And the one last thing, in the vegan protein. Oh man, that is so delicious.
Good, isn't it?
So delicious.
We went through 10 different formulations before we got that one. It was just nothing, because a lot of them have vegan proteins have very gritty taste, or they have like a mouthy, funky taste or funky texture. That one's the best. It's awesome.
Yes. I like that you put the sea vegetables in there as well. I haven't seen that at pretty much. I don't think I've ever seen that before. So, do you think that's like an original, or did you come across something with sea vegetables as a protein? Or phytonutrients, I would say.
Boy, honestly, I don't remember the details of that. So many different things we do.
I know. Yeah, it has the dulse. It has the dulse. Actually, I have it right here. It has the dulse, kelp, and spirulina in it. So that is an excellent combination right there, especially when it comes to taste. So beautiful job you guys done. I appreciate you all the time, and I will look forward to having you back on the show, guys. This is Dr. Gazsi. I appreciate it, sir.
Thanks a bunch.
You're very welcome, and I'll talk to you soon. And be well, and tell everybody I said hello over there.
I will do. Take care.
All right, you also. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Are you looking for lifestyle change? Are you looking for more accountability to help you reach those goals? At Ladybug Natural Solutions, our mission is to help you achieve and maintain your overall well-being. If you're seeking to accomplish health goals, responsive or maintenance care, your experienced and highly qualified holistic health professional is here to create an individualized plan that will best meet your needs. It is my highest priority to reach and educate as many people as possible on the profound positive effects holistic medicine can have on improving one's quality of life. Ladybug Natural Solutions creates an inviting and innovative practice that exceeds the health needs of your entire family. Give us a call today at 201-888-4706 to set up a free strategy session.